What's up, guys? This is the first premiere episode of Fresh Off the Dome. This is a topic-based podcast where we're just talking about one topic, and that's it. I am joined by Christian Puente at Pixel Brave. And I am also joined by Andrew Taylor.
What's going on?
That noise was me tripping over trying to say Ohio gozaimasu.
Hey, it worked out. It's fine.
Yeah. So this topic is just going to be all about Death Note. So let's just talk about it.
Yeah, it's been on my mind all week, guys. Just like I can't stop thinking about it.
Like in what way?
I've just really like Death Note, the Netflix movie in particular, because it's been building up to it for like around this. So the trailer comes out for the Netflix series, and then more and more people that I know start watching the show. Trevor Starkey, who we both know. And also my brother coincidentally also started, and so just I have Death Note on the brain, seeing people watching the anime for the first time, and so it makes me even more anticipated for what the American adaptation will be like. And then I find myself rewatching it, so I'm just getting triple Death Note like on the daily, and then the movie finally comes out, and it's just
we'll get there.
Right.
Andrew, what's with you in this series?
So, I got to be frankly honest. I've watched 2 episodes of the anime.
Sure.
And the reason is just because recently I've kind of had like an anime overload. Like Ian Purcell's really gotten me into anime. Christian, you've helped me. Just like getting recommendations from a lot of people. You know, my anime of choice right now is My Hero Academia.
oh yeah.
And so I'm very like invested in that anime right now. And I find myself that when I first started getting into anime, I was kind of hopping over all over the place. So I'm trying to just focus on particular anime, series. But Death Note, I have watched 2 episodes so far. I do plan on going back and watching that whole series. And I think, and I won't get too far into it because obviously we're going to discuss it, but I think the Netflix movie pushed me into wanting to get deeper into the source material just because of how much I felt like I had no connection to like that Netflix movie at all whatsoever.
Sure.
So essentially that's kind of like where I stand right now.
See, this is an interesting perspective because I'm pretty sure Christian's seen the entire series as well as much as I have, and like and you're more or less going into this fresh, so it's like we'll get that outsider opinion. That's like judging that as a movie, while me and Christian will probably just like kind of more or less beat this thing up because we're fans of this.
Exactly. Yeah.
From my side, like I was obsessed with that note, like with the manga and the movie. Watched the Japanese movie, that adaptation of it, which was like pretty much note for note the anime, which is good and bad thing because it's like you're like is because this is an anime, so it's like you're having the guy who dresses up as like one of the characters, like the character L, for instance, and like he has to look like that character. So it's like you just see this character is like in real world, like, real people around him, and it's like this is just weird. So like but like I guess we'll start with the movie then, because like I kind of wanted this to be about the series in general, but like I don't want to get too deep into it as far as like because like the movie touches on some stuff, but like it doesn't touch everything on the anime. So like just initial impressions, like Andrew, what did you think of it?
So and obviously I can't speak too much of it just because I haven't finished the whole anime series. But like from what I can tell with the movie, it just seems like another one of those situations where they're like, this anime is really popular. This is a really cool idea for an anime, because it is a really cool idea. And then they took the idea and they like just bastardized it like so hard to the point where it's like very hard to watch and like super laughable. You know what I mean? And like I don't know if it's the way that it's translated from the anime into a live action movie, or if it's because the actors are just so bad at acting that they just make it seem like it's actually a parody of what the source material really is. Because I'm not
the parody, I feel like everyone would have received it a lot better. They're like
and see, like that's the thing is like I can't really say too much on it just because like I haven't seen the source material, but from what I can see with the movie, and it's very interesting to me because the director of this movie, he's directed a couple other horror movies in the past like few years, which have actually been really good. Like he's directed Your Next, which is kind of like a house like invasion movie that's actually really good, really kind of like dark comedy, and just everything about that movie is actually just if you haven't if you know, Death Note's probably left like a sour taste in your mouth, like with this director. But like I guarantee you, he's actually directed good movies, so you should definitely watch. You should definitely watch Your Next. But I just felt like the whole, just the interpretation of what I saw was just really silly because, like you stated before, Nabeshin, like L is this character that's obviously from the anime. And he has like a hood on, and he just like sticks out like a sore thumb because he's trying to look like some sort of like Jedi or something. I don't know. And it's really goofy and super laughable. And like I think the actor was probably like, I really need to make this guy like kind of over the top, like too over the top. And I think that's kind of like where that failed. And then with the character Light, who's the main, you know, protagonist, he's like. And I've seen this actor before in a bunch of different movies, and they're all bad. But he is just, there's just something about that actor, and I was like, this is really hard to watch. And like, he's making this movie terrible for me because he's like really over the top. Like, I won't go too much into spoilers or anything like that at this point, but there's a part he's like stuck in a room and there's like shit flying everywhere, and he's screaming, but it's like the most over the top like screaming I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just like, this is just such a it's really hard to watch, but that's kind of like where I stand right now. Like I stated before, I haven't seen all the source material, but like I am more than willing to rip this movie a new asshole at this point. But that's kind of like where I stand.
Just say ahead of time, like feel free to spoil a movie. Like this is just something like just go off the cuff. We won't spoil anything for the anime for you because you know you haven't got to that far, but we'll spoil the movie as much as you want to.
Okay, great.
Christian, what do you think, man?
What I've said is I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Sure.
I went in knowing, like, because I come from like a production background, so I know that, you know, with, you know, production costs and deals with distributing and stuff like that, like there's some things you can do, some things you can't, and to tackle the actual Death Note, whether faithful to the manga or anime, because there's a similar the kind of Netflix budget, I don't think would have covered that whole series. So it's understandable. You go in knowing, all right, there's gonna be arcs missing, characters missing, and go in with that expectation. No, it's gonna be a smaller area, but with those limitations, you can still make a competent movie, which they didn't do. They flipped things, and for no reason, they come across like they don't understand the material at all, and it just. So then, who are you even making this movie for, right?
Right. So, because like it's the weird thing, right? It's like you're trying to introduce something new by like introducing this thing called Death Note Old is something that nobody heard of except like the deep fans of it, but we can't appeal to those fans, so those fans are like a dime a dozen, and we want to make this a mass market as much as we can, so let's do something different so like we can like make this our own, but we still gotta do the little things that make this our attached to the original fan base. So like we have to name them L, we have to name them Light. It's like no, you don't. And that's the main problem with the movie, because like in my personal opinion, I think the movie would be serviceable at most if they didn't use their names. Because like the thing with the Death Note, just like in general, like even when that series in the manga or the in the anime, it's more of like the Death Note is always a thing. That thing is not going to go away. So it's more of like it could have been passed to somebody else. This could have been a story about like. Ryuk, like just like giving the Death Note to somebody else, and it's like, and he could like probably make reference to Light, like how he used to be in the anime, because like the best thing about Death Note from the original series is it's a battle of like intellect, like it's a battle of wits between like two intellectuals, which I'm pretty sure you can tell Andrew like this wasn't in that, like, that movie at all as far as intellectuals. It's just a lot of emotions and a lot of just like really just dumb decisions. Like as far as like the character Light is like a fucking genius and like a fucking G as far as like a lot of things. Like if you like. I could remember like when Death Note used to come out, like there used to be like literal camps between like Team Kira and Team L, and this was like around when Twilight was a thing too, so like that was a weird thing. But like you know, like I was rooting for L, and my best friend Tony was rooting for Light, and it's like yo, we like one of us is gonna win this this debate, because like it was honestly a good debate, a debate that kind of just like gets like overshadowed by because like it's a legit debate about like, you know, like should you just kill evil people because they're evil, like rapists and pedophiles and all that stuff like that, or should you like let them get served by justice by the law? And like I felt that like this movie didn't really bring that up too often. They brought it up every once in a while, but I think it got overshadowed by like the Final Destination type of kills and a whole bunch of other stuff. Because like again, like in the original stuff, like when you write someone's name in the Death Note, other than like somewhat controlling their minds, like they basically just get a heart attack. That's mostly what it is. It's not really just like, and like there's stuff that happens too, like you can make stuff fall on them and stuff like that, but it's not like you'll see like somebody drop a assault and then like it'll shoot across the room and then like knock over a base and then the base makes you hit like a knife into your head or something like that. It's not that. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I definitely got that Final Destination vibe for sure. And I think it was a little bit over the top, to be honest. I mean, it was like him writing their name down and then just the most intricate way of them dying, and it's like, okay. Like, I don't know.
I mean, like, to be fair, there is stuff like that in the anime. Like,
sure,
Light,
I believe that.
Yeah, Light is a very stoic character. Doesn't really have any emotions at all until pretty much he meets L. And when he meets L, that's like he got a challenge. He has to like someone to actually strive against too. And there's some parts in Death Note he like literally just like laughs like a maniac. He just goes insane and just like he just gets so obsessed. Like you'll see like the funny thing about the anime Death Note is like you'll see the most like orgasmic pen writing that you'll ever see in your life. Just like someone just like going insane, just writing down on a pen and just like and you just like see sparkles everywhere when he writes down on the pen. It gets really funny and insane as far as that. And like L. As far as like L, like until like his emotions get brought into it, like they portrayed him somewhat decently, because like L is just like this weird character. He's like pretty much like he looks like an albino type of guy, just with black hair and stuff like that, and like he barely gets any sleep. He loves sweets and like he sits in a weird way and stuff like that. So like they kind of got him sort of right with that, but then it's like when he brought in Watery as far as like him like making these weird moral and like emotional decisions that like L wouldn't do this. And it's like and that's another thing. It was like if you didn't name them the characters, and maybe this would go somewhere, but like it's like when you like mess with the fan base like that, that's where it really just like screws it over.
Sure.
Was there any like redeeming things from this that you actually liked?
I mean, the only thing I mean, Ryuk, it was fine. It was nice to. It was really satisfying hearing Willem Dafoe, who's been like a fan favorite in the fan casting of this movie, to always be Ryuk. So to see it realized, and when I say realized, I put that in quotes because Ryuk was not really Ryuk as he is in the anime, but at least kind of see a version. It was all right. That's probably one of the most redeeming factors. Or like one of the quote unquote okay things that I had with this movie was that at least it was cool seeing another version of Ryuk and through a great American voice actor.
Yeah, I thought Ryuk sold the show. Like honestly, like Willem Dafoe's portrayal of him is like really on point, and like even like because like there was like some parts in the movie where he was just completely in darkness, like well I never see his face, and then like when he's like they kind of just peek at his face like every once in a while, and I just like love seeing it every time. So, like I thought that he did him really good.
They shot him really well. There's like something about the face design. I really wish it did more representative, but that's like not even like any on the list of things I have problems with this movie. Like to me, it's more like the characters just aren't. They're them in name only, but all their decisions and characteristics are so out of place. And Ryuk, unfortunately, falls in that line too. Like it's weird that like he looks so cool and the delivery's done in the same kind of sinister personality, but this version just goes so off base with the Ryuk we know in the anime. Like I said, I'm not trying to exactly. I don't want to spoil it for Andrew too much, but this is just a different version. One that's much more hands-on in his plot to become on board, whereas Ryuk was always more of an observer and almost even in some parts like a middle person for the audience or reader, quote unquote, to you know, for what kind of questions we should be asking, Light.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for sure, like when it comes to redeeming factors, Willem Dafoe has always been kind of like, he's a really good actor. Like you can give Willem Dafoe pretty much any role and he'll succeed and go above and beyond with that role because he's a very committed guy. And I was reading some article on IGN and he was saying how he didn't read the source material. So he has no connection to Death Note whatsoever. He's just been given the role. And he said that because he doesn't want to. He said his reasoning for not reading the source material or watching the original anime is because he wanted to give a portrayal that seemed like unique. And obviously, like I said before, I've only seen a couple episodes of Death Note. I mean, now I'm pushed more to watching that, definitely for sure in the near future. But from what I can tell, because I've seen Ryuk a couple times in the anime already, is like it's a little bit different, but there's a lot of similarities and things like that. But I did like what he did with the character. Obviously, I don't know him very well, but like from what I could tell, it's just another Willem Dafoe playing William Dafoe, kind of being an anime character. I don't know how to explain it, but like
pretty much
it was sinister, and I liked it. Like I was kind of like you, Nabeshin, where are they going to show his face? Are they not going to show his face? Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, you can kind of see his face. So, you know, if I saw something like that, I'd flip the shit out. You know what I mean? Like, I would be done. Like, but obviously, it's a demon. It's kind of like only Light can see him. No one else can see him. The keeper of the Death Note or whatever. And I would say that's definitely the most redeeming factor of the movie. I honestly can't think of really anything else.
I have another one. Like, it's pretty much at the end.
Sure.
Where, like, you saw that Light was, like, pretty much, like, playing, like, 5 steps ahead before anybody else. Like, how the Death Note will fall, how his page would burn, how he would get shit to the hospital, how he get his book back, and stuff like that. And that's pure Death Note, because, like, that's Light. That's one of the time, like, probably the only time in that movie that shows like him being the actual character from the source material. It's just like that planning like 5 steps ahead, knowing what to do and how to like make it in at least the best type of way, so like he could still had the Kira going on, because he had like, one of the guys like keep writing names in the Death Note while he was in the hospital, and like also like how he can get himself out of the situation, and also how like he could get his Death Note back. Like it's that stuff that's like that's what makes Death Note like so good. Is just like those moments where it's like just going one step ahead, or like how L, which didn't really show too much on this one. It had a couple of moments where L like kind of figures out like how to like figure out like is Kira and how that all works out.
Yeah. So. No, I definitely agree with you on that. The more I think about that, is just because it's kind of like, if that's what they do in the anime and they do that a lot, then I'm way more interested in watching that now than I ever was before, because that was probably the only time in the movie I felt like Light actually used the Death Note to his advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus him just being like, let me watch the news, or let me read the newspaper, and then I'll just write this person's name down and they'll be dead. Okay, that's boring. But instead he like essentially saved himself, in the Death Note, pretty much. And yeah, I don't know.
Christian, you have to remind me of this, but like Kira like got to a point where like pretty much like anything goes as far as like people going after him, right? Like there wasn't like at first it was a moral code, like I'm only killing this bad people, but like it was like got to the point where like when people were starting to figure out that he was Kira, or people getting close to like questioning him about being Kira, he pretty much like cut them out, right? He became like pretty much a monster after that point, right?
Yeah, he definitely starts letting loose for more, for other reasons now. I don't want to spoil too much stuff, but it just, the definition of like someone that deserves to die just becomes a lot more lenient. toward as we get closer to the end of the series.
Yeah,
Um,
and I will say too, like Andrew, like but as far as like the Death Note anime, like I would say like pretty much you only have to see half of it, and there's a clear like half point that like like if you wanted to stop there, like that would be completely fine. Because like honestly, the way it ends is like it's still good, but it's not as good as that endpoint was. So like it's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, you're going on for like 13 episodes more because it's a 26 episode series, and like you have to finish the series off with something else. But like if you wanted to stop at that first 13, yeah, that's like a solid place to stop. So I'm just putting that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, but I also those last episodes that a lot of people say like don't do too well. I rewatched them recently, and for the first episode after the halfway point, the halfway event that happens, yeah, there's like kind of like one episode that feels completely filler, but after you get past that one, I really did start like kind of warming up to Nier again. I don't have very good I'm trying not to spoil stuff. Hopefully, Andrew didn't understand what I meant, but those later episodes do kind of grow on me after a while, which I didn't think would happen, especially since I know how the series would end. Then on a repeat watch, I thought, oh, like I'm gonna want to skip these, but then everything else, it does kind of. It's not as bad as I remember. I was still able to watch it the whole.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad at all. I just know where the quality was, and then it was like, then that was like, oh, we have to keep this going. That's at least that's what it kind of felt like. We had to keep this going. So I don't
know. I was just gonna say like the thing that took. I just want to go back to that thing that you said that this could have been an alternate story, and they could have just gone like, if they're gonna go with all new characters and settings, and they should just gone with new names. That way, you can say that this is just another story that happens to.
The Death Note and Ryuk and those characters.
Yeah, like it just, they really should have. There's a theory. Oh, that would be interesting. That this is another story, and maybe the audience, maybe the creators or the producers, they're like, no, like we really got to stick to everything because people won't understand. But like, I watched a recent Death Note movie, the third one. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it takes place 10 years after the original Death Note story. So it is in a way an alternate story, and it worked. It worked really well. Like people allude to the fact, like, oh yes, 10 years ago there were Death Notes, and now we're seeing a repeat of it. Like this movie, all I need is like 5-second news broadcast saying like, oh, like the Kira killer is back or something like that.
Yeah.
That way, people can kind of let go to the expectation that this will be a character like Light.
I mean, it's I don't know, man. Like, like it frustrates me. It just frustrates me a lot because like, it's just like it's just the dumb things, like the dumb, stupid decisions that just like make me mad about this. It's like you didn't have to name him Light. Who in America his name is Light? Like, let's be real here. And it's just like, like, did he really have to be L? Like, couldn't he? Like, we didn't have to do a cookie cutter paste of this. We could do. Like, if you wanted to make something new and do something different. We don't have to do the same things every time because now you're alienating your fan base and you're also not making a good move because no one knows what the fuck you're talking about. So it's like you can't make this middle thing. You have to do something different. So
I mean, sorry. Go ahead, Christian.
No, it was just I lost my thought. Anyways.
Okay. I would say like. I agree. Obviously, like I said before, I've said this a bunch of times, but I can't really say too much about the anime. But I feel like that might have worked out better because if it was more like, oh, this is a completely separate story, they reference like the original Death Note like story, that'd be cool. Because then I think you'd be a little bit more forgiving versus them like taking this and like making an adaptation, kind of, screwing things up here and there. And kind of making it a little bit over the top, kind of parody like. I think that might have maybe benefited the fans a little bit more, possibly, or they might have actually hated it more. Who knows at this point? But
yeah,
I would say like, I would. They did what they did. There's really not much going back on. What I think they kind of set it up for a sequel possibly, but honestly, I don't even think I'd watch that. But. I mean, like I said before, I'm way more interested in the anime now than I was before. After watching this, I mean, it's just like after watching the movie, I'm just like the anime has to be cooler than this. Like I just know it for a fact. Like I know it without a shadow of a doubt. Like the anime must be cooler than this because I know a lot of people that love the anime, and so I'm thinking to myself when I was watching the movie because me and Liza watched it together, and I was like, man, I'm just thinking of everyone that I know that loves anime, and I'm just like, they must hate this movie. Like this must just be salt to the wound essentially at this point. But
did Liza pretty much have the same opinion as you?
she was verbally telling me how terrible the movie was.
Okay.
Over and over and over again. Like she was like, this is so bad. And I'm like, let's just finish it. We'll just be done with it. Don't worry about it. And she's like, how much more of this is there? Like, how much more is left? And I'm like, there's like 15 minutes more. And she's like, I don't know if I can do it. And she stuck through to the end, and we had a good laugh about it. But
the shame is like, if you're gonna go completely off story, which is basically what they did, then at least make it a movie that is good as a standalone. If has like, even if this was not, if you took the same script and took the name Death Note off it and call it like Killer Book or something like that, like
Killer Book, so original.
Well, the premise itself and all the character decisions are just so out of whack. Like, why would you write this character that is so into this girl that obviously is using him? And why would you write a character who's so frustrating? Like, we're going to spend over an hour with this character. Can you please make him likable? Not a douchebag, not someone that yells at their dad and, you know, even...
So emotional.
Yeah, like, emotion is fine, but...
Not when it's comical.
Not when it's constant.
Yeah, and constant.
It's just one-dimensional, you know? He's only ever angry, you know? Light...
He's a teenager.
And Light in the show, like, he's not one note. He's very much serious and egotistical. But besides that, he also has his moments where he feels, you know, like, when he is kind of like winning intellectually over Elle, you know, he congratulates himself and he has this fake persona with his family too, you know. But all of those are several dimensions. You don't just get this one note like we got from Nate Wolff. And
he is such a one-dimensional like actor. It's funny.
Like, just if you're gonna make a movie, at least like, why didn't you take? I just feel like they just did the first thing that they came up with. Why didn't you do another rewrite? I've been actually, maybe that's what I meant when I meant earlier when I said like it's just been on my mind a lot. Like, just seeing it in my head, I'm actually wondering, can I download the movie and edit a better version? Because I believe
someone's out there.
Like, half of it is doable if you have just this kid who's troubled, you know. Maybe they have the guilt of his mom not getting justice, you know, and so he, you know, gets the power to kill. Like, that's all fine, but make the kid someone we can understand them, but you know, or at least smart, you know. Like, he starts killing at his school, and he looks the great thing about Yagami Light in the anime is that if there's killings going around, no one would ever look at this kid. He's top of his class. He's popular with girls. He has friends. You know, he's in clubs. He goes to college. He goes to prep school. But at this school with Nate Wolff version, like, if something bad happens to anyone, he's immediately the first. He has a black eye. He's a black eye, and he's in detention. And he's you know, he's exactly the first kid that people would start looking at. You know, like,
exactly.
If you're gonna give your character the power to kill, make him, you know, smart enough to know when and where is okay and stuff like that.
I agree.
This kid, immediately, she's like, "What do you have there?" That's what do you have there? And
oh my god!
He's like,
"Come into this bathroom and I'll show you."
Yeah, he's like, "No, I can't tell you what it is." And then she's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like,
dude, immediately after, he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll tell you what it is." Like, come on.
Yeah.
We'll see in the anime that. I mean, I don't feel like it's spoiling. I feel like it's a no duh kind of thing, like an obvious. Like, Yagami Light in the anime goes to extreme lengths to protect his book, whereas this guy, he's just like, here, let me show you. He's so badly written. You like when he's gonna show her the power of the Death Note, he's like, look, I know you'd really like this. That is like his first thing to say to her. Why would you write us a character that talks to another girl and is like, "You would like murder? Like that's just my opinion of you. You're psychotic." So that's like,
Oh my god.
write some other better circumstance for them to meet up and have something in common at least. You know?
I laughed so hard when they were having sex and they were writing names in the notebook while they were doing it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you? This is definitely a parody at this point.
But that's an example. Like montages, they suck in general, but you know they can serve a purpose too. And you gave us a montage of these kids on dates, and I'm putting the actual thing lightly. I'm saying dates because I don't like saying the other thing. But you could have had a montage of something much better in here. How about instead of a montage of these kids making out and killing people, you have the back and forth chess match between Light and Elle, the intellectual. You know, at the end of the movie when he shows like, oh yeah, I've prepped this guy to do that, to do this, which results in this. That is the whole anime. But not only from his perspective, Elle in the anime also does those things where he's 10 steps planned ahead, and so back and forth. And if this movie had had more of that, you could even have just a montage of them narrowly, you know, arresting Kira or Light finding out who Elle is. You know, if you just had a montage of that as a reference to the anime of the back and forth that these guys have. But no, instead, you know what? Like, well, kids will like. They'll like kids doing date stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the girl was something else too. Like it was actually disturbing about how much she wanted to use the book to kill people. But it was like it was obviously overacted, like disturbing. You know what I mean? Like it was just over the top.
And did she have like? Did they ever explain like why she had like a fetish for it? Like did something bad happen to her?
No, it's so weird for him to just assume, hey, you know, of all the cheerleaders, you smoke, so you must like death, right? Like
it was so bad. It was so bad.
But like, if you're gonna make us a protagonist who has a romantic interest, then can you have them be a romantic interest we can agree with? But instead, like you're hooking us up, the audience, with this murderous, psychotic, you know, unhinged person. You know, like that doesn't make a sense for this character to fall for someone like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
No, it didn't make sense. If you're gonna make a romantic interest, which is unnecessary, but if you're gonna make one, at least do it right, you know?
Exactly. And I just felt like it was kind of like, oh, I'm damaged, you're damaged, let's start hanging out. And then they start hanging out, and then they start doing the date stuff, and it's like, where is this coming from? I have no idea why this is happening. Oh, you smoke, you must like killing people. Let's kill people together just because, you know, you smoke. What? It was bad.
Any final thoughts, guys, before you like wrap this up?
I'm really excited to watch the anime, and I think possibly when I finally finish that up, and I know that you said watch like the first 13 episodes, you should be good to go. I'm the type of person that's like, I gotta complete the whole thing.
Yeah, you won't regret completing it. I was just saying that's like that's the golden stuff. That's the stuff that everyone talks about, is that those first 13 episodes.
I'll give an analogy. I'd say the last episodes of Death Note are like The Dark Knight Rises. Like some people like them, some don't. And if you watch, you get the cool experience. But if you all just stop at Dark Knight, you're not really missing much by not seeing where the rest.
Exactly. I like that. And maybe we'll do like a discussion when I finally get to the end there.
Dude, yeah, man, I'd love to.
And I like, because that's the thing. Yeah, there you go. Because like that's the thing. Like, I feel like I'm at this stage a lot of the time where there's production companies, movie studios, whoever, they get this book or they get this source material, and they're like, let's make a movie off of this. And majority of the time, I'll see the movie before I read any of the source material or watch any of the source material. And I'll be like, that pushes me more to actually get into the source material, because I know that there's people out there advocating for the source material, saying that this is actually really good, but this movie or this show really fucked it up. And I feel like this just pushes me more to want to watch Death Note and actually like get through the whole thing and talk about it and whatnot. So
I actually want to talk about this a little bit.
Sure.
like what you were saying, Andrew, like just like what's a good example of that? Because like like when you're seeing a movie, you're seeing like the most abridged version that you could possibly see of it, because it has to be between like 2 hours and whatever. But like, what's a good something that's like probably from like a book or like some other source material that is put into a movie that actually does it justice? Did you feel
like? So are you saying that I've read the source material before the movies come out, or I've seen the movie and then I wanted to go see the source material?
Either or. Yeah, I guess I didn't explain that right, but yeah, either or.
Well, okay, so I'm kind of like a rare case just because I grew up in a religious home, but like I never read Harry Potter before, and now I'm finally starting to read Harry Potter. I've seen all the movies. And I enjoy the movies. I enjoy them for what they are. I've only read the first book, but I can tell you right now that for me, I enjoy picturing those things in my mind versus watching them.
Sure.
And it's not that the movies aren't good, because from what a lot of people tell me, everyone's like, well, after the Goblet of Fire, all those movies like start sucking or whatever compared to the book. That's what I've been told or whatever. So for me, it's kind of like, all right, well, my point that I can base everything off of is the movies. Like, that's what I know. And so now that I'm going back and reading the books, I'm actually on the second book right now. Now that I'm going back and reading the books, I'm like, okay, these are actually really, really good. I actually think I enjoy this more than the movie. And so that's, the movies are my point of reference, but now I'm going back and finally checking out the source material, and I'm enjoying it more than I am enjoying the movie. And that the movie is the only thing I've ever known.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know how big of Harry Potter fans you guys are, but
I think it.
Yeah, so I would say that's kind of like where I'm at. I mean, the Hunger Games movies was never really into the movies very much, but like I read some of the book and I thought the book was better than the movies. I haven't finished the books, but that's kind of like another example. So,
Okay, cool. Your final thoughts, Christian?
Can you give me a prompt? like you gave him a question, I was like, oh, you gave him a question. Like final thoughts in general is just that, like, I watched it and I had a lot of problems, but it doesn't take away from the fact that there's still great anime for me to watch and reread if I like. And I ended up I recommend if anybody digs the Death Note anime, to check out the live-action Japanese movies. They are a little different from the story, and the production is not that great. But I watched the third one, which is basically like
the third one's the only one I haven't seen.
I watched it, and I thought it was fantastic, and I think it's well worth watching either the anime or just watching those first two movies if you haven't seen any of it. Watch those two Japanese movies to find out, to have context for the third one. Because it's really interesting what it does, and it's shot very well. The first two were kind of like, I don't know, like obviously there's like a big production kick for the third one because everything just looks so nice, the cinematography and the action and everything. It's just the third one is really good. So I'm at least glad that there's good Death Note stuff out there, even though this one thing is kind of souring some of them out.
Yeah. I guess my final thoughts on it is just like the movie's not atrocious, but it's just one of those things that like we deserve better, and like and I think I've gotten to this point, like, because it's weird, right? Because I'm in a weird place right now where I'm trying to be like, live let live. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. That's fine. So like, if anyone likes the movie, then like, sure, more power to you. I don't mind you liking this movie. But like, as for me, it's like we deserve better. I'm just getting so sick of like just this. Like these, like honestly, just dumb decisions, like from like Hollywood. It's just like we're literally going to like the lowest common denominator. You're not trying to be different. You're not doing anything interesting, and it's like it's just weird. Like if you're gonna be the same, be the fucking same. If you're gonna be different, be fucking different. Like don't be this stupid halfway in between thing. I hate that with a passion now. Like I just became like super like not tolerant of that anymore. This is kind of why I don't watch movies anymore, or at least go to movies. as much as often. It has to be like something like unique, like Lego Batman or Get Out before I like actually go see a movie or something like that.
I actually saw those back to back.
Perfect combo right there.
It was $5 Tuesday at my theater, so I saw Get Out.
Love those days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good days.
But like like I've already said, like what it should have been, like it just should have been like a continuation of just the Death Note going to somebody else, like, and if it was the angsty teen, that makes sense. An angsty teen will like want to kill everybody, and that makes sense. That, like I said, like if you didn't have like Light, who's supposed to be a genius, and like the only part that he's showing being a genius is him just giving out homework to other students, and that's literally it.
Did y'all see that quiz is incomplete?
What?
No.
Somebody paused the shot where like he hands the money and gets the test, and that kid, it's not done. It's an unfinished quiz.
That's amazing. Maybe they purposely did it. Yeah, who knows? I would say like my very final thought would be, if you did enjoy this movie or you didn't enjoy this movie, like I stated before, this director Adam Wingard, I think that's how you pronounce his name or whatever. He's directed good movies before, and I highly suggest watching You're Next. It's a very like dark comedy, horror movie, slasher. It's very good. Home invasion. I don't know. I can't give that movie enough praise. Like the soundtrack is so awesome too. And I think he did another movie, or he might have been associated with the movie, but it's called The Guest.
Okay, The Guest is good. I've seen that.
Yeah, with Dan Stevens, and then there's like the other girl from It Follows in there.
It Follows. Yeah.
Yep. So that's a good movie too. I'm not sure if he directed it, but it's kind of like the same, like satire kind of, dark comedy slasher horror. So
yeah. He also did Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, boy.
Okay. So that's my final thought. Is that obviously this guy is an accomplished director, so I wish he'd brought his A game to this, because after I looked at his name, I'm like, so who directed this? Okay, Adam Wingard. I'm gonna assume it's all just like a bunch of nonsense movies, but I'm like, wow, like he has a really.
He does, like a legit,
I just wish he brought. He's obviously capable of like creative horror, so I wish he just brought more of that.
Yep, me too.
Here's to hoping for a reboot or something.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. All right, boys. Thank you for joining me for this.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm just going to give this like a quick explanation of what this show even is, because this is the first episode and I haven't done that yet. But like this is the point of it. So fresh off the dome, this is like the first thing I just thought of for myself. Like I'm an avid podcast listener and I love listening to podcasts, but like it takes too much to get to like the meat and potatoes of what you want to talk about. Some of the times, like sometimes you have to go through games, or sometimes you want to talk about your life or something like that. But you just really want to be there for the topic. This is what this show is about. Just getting straight to the topic, straight off the beat, and just like, hey, this is what it is. It's what we're talking about. Here are the people here. Let's go. So like, I just want to get like a real satisfaction about it, and like the whole real reason of me doing this is like just like a little catharsis type of thing. It's like, I always want to talk about something. Like, oh, I just beat like all the, I don't know, Naruto games or something like that, and I want to talk about it with somebody, and like, like it's just like one of those type of moments, and like I want
to hear those things,
and like like it's always like a point where it's like, oh, we should talk about this on the podcast. Okay, let's do a spoiler cast, and it's like it'll take like a month to get to that point. Like, no, let's get to it right here, right now. Just like try to see if you can find an hour of your day just to just sit down and just talk about something. So this is what I want this show to be, and like I want this like to spread out to everybody. Like if you have like a topic you want to talk about, like if Christian wants to talk about like filming stuff, and like he has someone else to talk to, like, hey, I'll lend you this YouTube link or this YouTube channel, and just like talk about it with somebody. Just talk about it for about an hour and just have fun with it. At least with my circle of friends, I should say. So like, because if I don't know you, I'm not gonna give you my shit. But yeah, that's the gist of it, and like hopefully this will expand out more. Like I had a lot of fun doing this. Like this is what I wanted. Like I just want these long discussions about like stuff that I'm passionate about at the moment, or someone else is passionate about at the moment, and we just talk about it for a good minute. So that's really what I want. So thank you, boys. Like Andrew, pimp your shit, man.
So I work on a YouTube channel called Fit the Gamer. I do a couple podcasts. One that's kind of like this, a little bit one-on-one discussion. Christian, you've been on. Nabeshin, I plan on having you on sometime soon. But it's more of like a conversational. I pick the topics. I like to discuss kind of like the projects you're working on, the content you create. if there's a big news story that I've noticed that maybe you've discussed on Twitter, we'll kind of get into that, all that kind of stuff. That's called Private Chat, and you can find that on iTunes. I do a comic book podcast as well called Panel to Panel. That's on hiatus right now just because I'm moving here this week, so everything's kind of on a break right now. Fit the Gamer, all of our content should be coming back within the next month or so. And then, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can definitely do so at Papa Drew Bear, and I just tweet random stuff. So that's about it.
Christian.
I'm Christian, and you can find some of my video work on youtube.com/pixelbrave. It's some video game convention highlights, as well as personal vlogs that I've started doing, mostly tackling my thoughts and reflections on pop culture and video games. And you can also definitely talk to me on Twitter at pixelbrave.
For sure. And I've been your host, Brian Nabeshin Jackson, and you can follow me on Twitter, NABESHIN186, usually on Rational Passions. This is probably the last time I actually pimp my stuff, because I'll probably be doing this more often. So just follow me, talk to me. If you want to talk about something and I actually know what it is, hey, I don't mind talking about it. But hey, if I know you and you want to talk about it with a couple of friends, that you know, yeah, just let me know, and I'll get you set up so we can just put it out. But yep, this has been fresh off the dome, so I'll catch you guys later. Bye.